All right, I am back and got to check my time here. All right, it's 11 p.m. So what I'll do is I'll get this video and then everything's going to upload at once. Usually what I do is I create a playlist and then add everything to the playlist, but I can't do that until all the videos are uploaded, and that's not going to be until tomorrow morning, because what I'll do is I'll upload these, and if I'm lucky, by 3 or 4 a.m. they'll finally be done. They take a long time to upload, folks. If you've never done this before, it's actually brutal. And then those people who edit their videos before they upload, they're spending even longer. I tip my hat to them. As you know, I don't like editing my videos, and I don't. So it would add that much more time. And to be quite honest, I am running a household and a career, and I would rather just keep playing games than spending all my time uploading and editing. So I do appreciate all of your patience when I don't edit. Anyways, thanks for watching. So here we go. We start the new sequence. We still don't have a war column, so we're going to skip the whole section that you have still not seen in this game. And now we're in operation selection. So at this point, I could pick planning again, but remember, planning is going to reduce the strength of all my units. And I have 2 units that have 1 strength, so I would actually, 2 of my bands would get killed. I don't want to do that at all. I want to do actions. So let's do some actions. And this time I have to do them in the right order, because if I get action points from step 3, I have to resolve step 2 first. And you'll see why in a second, but you have to spend action points when you do a trade. And I can't collect action points from step 3 to use in the step 2 for the trade. So here's what I mean by that. So I have to put as many as possible. You can't just choose not to do this. And let me make sure I follow the steps properly. So everybody goes to finish. So then I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3, like this. All right, so first thing you may notice is I'm only going to be able to get 1 action point this time instead of 2. And just as a reminder, I have 2 right now. So if I go and I trade at an enemy village, the trade step explanation, I'll read it to you, says, I may spend any bison, captives, or horse counters in my possession. For each resource counter spent, I must also spend a movement point. And for each non-captive, I must also spend an action point if it's not a peace space. So we were discussing, what is a peace space? What does it mean? Well, remember, they have that dictionary index thing, and it's pretty helpful. So peace space, space marked with either a peace or ally instruction counter is a peace space, which trumps enemy space. If a square space is called a peace space, all settlements belonging to the enemy are also peace. So what I was wondering is, what about the trade space? And that's what's interesting. There is a space that specifically says trade. Right here. Trade only until the Santa Fe card is revealed. So I am suspicious that that might also be considered a peace space, even though... So I'm going to go to 5.2.4, see if there's some more detail there. There's also a section in the rulebook that talks about those spaces, so maybe we can go there. Sorry, I'm just reading. Okay, so let's see if there's anything special about that space that says trade on it. So it's saying that I can go to like an enemy space and trade there. Like for example, I can go to this west space, that yellow space, just as much as I can go to this blue space, but they're considered enemy spaces, which is not a peace space. But this space that specifically says trade think, I really do. I really think that that's a, it does say that the east has 2 square spaces. They do not belong to any territory and have no area value. Ay, ay, ay. I'm convinced that it's a peace space for the purposes of trading. Because it says trade right on the square. Maybe we should look up the Santa Fe card. See what that says. They said it was 43. Or maybe I'm going to have to stop the video and see if I do a Board Game Geek check. Sorry folks, I just ended the video and started a new one, and I should have looked this up before I started. That's my fault. Ooh, there's a Louisiana Purchase. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so for the rest of the game, the player is free to execute actions other than trade in the north and east enemy space. So you can execute trade. It does say enemy space, so I would assume that means then that it's not a peace space. Interesting. So we don't have any peace spaces. So when I was taking horses, I should have been taking captives. And that's what I was meaning by when I was saying I don't know the difference between the two. So if you don't mind, I remember I took 2 horses. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to cheat fully, but I'm going to cheat a little. I'm going to renege that decision, put one of the horses back, and at least take 1 more captive. I really, if I weren't recording, I would probably just put 2 horses back and take 2 captives. Because now that I know what I know, that's the decision I would have made. Because I want to trade, and I don't want to spend action points to do the trade. In fact, that is what I'm going to do. Screw it. You guys can bitch at me in the comments. So I will do that. And so I still have the 4 horses I started the game with, right? I didn't lose any of those. I don't want to trade horses because trading horses costs me action points. All right? Does it make sense? I hope it does. So, and here's you're going to see why. So now it is time to do actions. And I, of course, have to do actions with this guy. This guy has 6 movement points. So let's play this out so we don't, do something stupid. He's going to spend 1 movement point to go to this enemy space, and then he's going to trade with the enemy. And he can take as many counters as he wants, but he's going to take, it's going to cost him 2 movement points to move out and back, so that means he has 4 movement points left. So I'm going to take 4 captives with him. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to come out with 4 captives, and he's going to execute a trade. Now, 6 movement points, he's going to move 1 for going out, 1 for going back, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 for all 4 captives. That's how that plays out. And so we don't have to spend action points to trade captives. So that's why you saw me trade the 2 horses for the captives. I hope that makes sense. And like I said, now that I know what I know, that was clearly the smarter move. Okay, so we're going to trade the captives. And this is just explaining it costs a movement point, and then it'll be an action point if it's not a peace space. It's not a peace space. So it's only an action point if it's a non-captive counter. Okay, I'm going to stop beating a dead horse, pun intended. All right, food or trade goods is what I can trade for. However, I have this card that says I can also get guns. It's America. So we're going to get some guns. All right, so I'm going to trade 4, and I'm going to take 1 trade good. I'm going to take 2 guns and a food. that was completely random, but I figured I need one gun for every band that uses guns, right? So I might as well I have 2 guns, that way I can have 2 bands go out and do fighting, right? The trade goods are going to let me, it's basically like a wild card, like a mulligan. I can get rid of a trade good to reroll a die, basically. And then the food is going to help me when the passage of time comes, and that's going to be soon. So I definitely want food. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And remember, the civilian or the captives are 1 population point. And so I did trade 1 captive for 1 population point and got 2. But by getting these 3, I got no population points. So I actually gave up a lot of population points to do this. But anyways, that's what I'm going to do. And yes, he's going to return with all of those goods, and then the captives go back. And that's good too, because we were actually out of captives, and the game rules are very clear that all resources are limited. So even if I wanted to buy more guns than the 2 that are there, I can't, because it's America. All right, so I am now finished with him. So I have 2 more left, and I can decide what to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one first. I am not going to get the action points. Instead, I'm going to send him out with a captive and 2 bison. Now, my logic there is I'm going to trade with him as well. And I'm actually going to take 3 food. 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm going to do. So the bison's going to be traded for food, and so is the captive. All right, so I'm going to take 3 food, like so. That costs 3 movement points, right? So he had 6. He's going to spend 2 to move out and back, and then 3 movement points. He actually has 1 left. I could actually raid. That's really funny. So I traded with them, and then I'm going to raid and steal the people that I just gave them. Gosh, this game is so mean and cruel, but it's so brilliant at the same time. So I just traded with them. I gave them, you know, Sarah and little Bobby Jean, and now I'm going to raid them and steal Sarah and Bobby Jean back. Oh, no. Should I do that? I have a movement point left. Why not? Oh my gosh, that is so cruel. There's got to be a rule that you can't do all that in the same space, but it doesn't say that. It just says it costs a movement point. Yeah, we're going to do it. Now, I don't have Bob with me, so that's one difference. So we're going to go ahead and do this. So I don't roll for Bob, and I just get to draw 2 success counters. So let's do that. Now, if I had the gun with me, because I could have maybe did this differently. Yeah, the guns would have helped. It's okay. Let's go. Oh, look at that. What a stupid, oh man, what a bad decision. All right, so they get 7. I was getting so excited I was gonna be able to steal Bobby Jean back, but it doesn't work out that way. So Navajo Ned got let go. So this guy's gonna come back. He's gonna be unfinished. And yes, he has 3 food with him. And oh, by the way, I forgot to take the horse. He has a horse as well. All of them have horses. Otherwise, it would have cost 2 movement points for them to move. They weren't going to trade the horse. They were just using the horse to move. Okay. All right, so looking at the situation, you can see I just traded for a whole bunch of food. I still have a bison. And I have 2 guns and a trade good. All right, and then I still have 1 more guy left. And that's he and Bob and a horse with no name are going to go out. And yeah, we're going to just raid the crap out of this guy until we get 3 things on him and make him go away. So 5 movement points, and I'm going to subtract 2 down to 3 because I want to move out and back, right? So we're just going to get that out of the way. And so I have 3 movement points left, so I can raid 3 times, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So first raid, I'm going to roll for Bob. I do get 1 extra success draw, so let's get her done. So, sick of drawing all the crap. There's a bad one. And, oh my gosh. And, oh, sorry. I had a success, I dropped it. There we go. Okay, man. All right, so I just gave them a crap ton of action points again, but we did get one success, and it's with Bob. So with that one success, I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna take a captive. All right, so now we're gonna roll again for Bob. A 5 is a fail, so I'm only drawing 2. 4, oh my gosh. That is awful. And so we're not even gonna get the 3 ravage markers out. It's only gonna be at most 2 now. Okay, so now the final one, I rolled a 1, so now I get to draw 4 success markers. 1, 2, 3, 4, look at that, I finally get some successes. But then I got, oh my gosh, there's so many enemy action points, it's not even funny. Look at this. What was left? There was still another action point. And another. This game is not friendly with the action points, that's for certain. There's 2 more. So technically speaking, there wasn't that many successes to be drawn in the first place. So this game is just very stingy with the successes I get. Well, you know what part of it is 2 of them are out of the game right now. So now that I see how many there are, yeah, the odds pretty much, I mean, they basically worked out the way they probably always would. So I'm grabbing 2 more captives. So we got 3 sets of captives there and 2 more success tokens that goes on the Bob track. And our little guy here is coming home and he's gonna also be finished. So we put all of them there in a big happy thing. All right, so let's finish up our action steps. Next would be we collect action points, which we're not gonna do. We can activate a band that's not in a reservation. Can't do that. And then we roll a die to see if the operations counter moves up. All right, so 4 or less, it's gonna move to passage of time. I rolled a 6. We're gonna get another turn, folks. So this moves up to 5. So we survived. I would say that this was finally a roll that went our way. Although I was ready for passage of time, this still worked our way. We're gonna get another turn. I think I would have rather had the roll go our ways in many of the other situations, but nonetheless, very interesting. So the distribution of these is brutal. So doing raids well, it is the bread and butter of the game, and of course, it's also the bread and butter of the enemy actions. Look at this. This is bad. Okay, so now let's move on. All right, we relinquish our possessions of resources. So we come back up here. Our bands come down. 3 sets of horses. And we got a new resource. Trade goods. We got a big stack of food and 2 guns. And Bob and captives. So Rancheria A is rocking it. Now, one thing I forgot to do, and during the passage of time, you can create another Rancheria. And I think we need to have population points and maybe some other resources with us, because then that helps to start it out. So I'm really glad we got an extra turn, because I think that was a huge mistake I was making. If we would have done a passage of time without that, I actually, I really should have moved to a space so I could get another rancheria somewhere else. Remember, we were going to do that here in Lana Estacado, but then we figured out how to move him. So I think I want to take the developer's advice and go either to Lower Arkansas or Red River and get a settlement there. So let's figure that out. What would we need to be able to start another rancheria? Well, that's part of the passage of time thing. And here we go. Player may place one new rancheria into a space occupied by a lone band. Remove the band and place it, along with any resources and bob counter stacked with it, into the new resource box. The new rancheria is given a Paraibo medicine rating equal to the new rancheria's band strength. If there is a bob counter in the new rancheria's resource box, exchange it for one with the letter matching the new rancheria's ID. Set his medicine so that it matches the rating it formerly held with the old one, then place the old one to 0. So basically your bob moved. If the new rancheria does not have a bob counter yet, you place it at 0. So we definitely want to put one of our bands out there so we get a new rancheria during the passage of time. And oh my gosh, if I wouldn't have rolled that 6, so now I'm actually quite grateful we rolled that 6. If I wouldn't have rolled that 6, that was a huge mistake. I think getting another rancheria going at the very first passage of time is crucial. I mean, I might be wrong, and maybe those of you who've played this game a lot can tell me otherwise, but I think having 2 rancherias is crucial because it gives you more options in the game. You can do more anything. But with that being said, when the warbands come, and I know you haven't seen a warband yet, the warbands have one goal, and that's to destroy your rancheria. So you have to defend it, and you're going to have to deal with battles, which cost you military points. So maybe someone can make an argument that having more rancherias is not a good idea, because then you have double the things you need to defend. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think it'd be nice to get another one going. And because now we're going to get another turn, we're going to be able to do that. All right, so let's finish this up. Roll a die for each rancheria with finished bands. So we got, I rolled a 3, which means he's getting 1 free instruction. And before I do that, I am going to do the success check. And I succeed in that case. So he's not going to get more counters, but they get to do 1 free instruction. So first roll, I rolled a 4, which is the west. And then I'm going to roll again. I roll a 5, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This flips over. Now, they're going to do the top action, which is a war, and we already know they're not going to do war because of the card. So they're going to just do that, and the free action's over. So now we go to the final stage where they're going to execute this buttload of action points. So it could be somebody other than West this time. This time it's 4, which is the West again. And now we're going to execute all these action points. But we got to flip something still. Number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this war flips back over to subjugate. All right, first one. And the good news is they had a lot of war. So first one is a 3. So that goes, nothing happens. Next one is a 5. So these go away and nothing happens because it's a war. Next one is a settle for 3. So that one is going to be bad, and they are going to go in the exact space that we were just in. So if you look over there, they go along the yellow line, so they're going to be settling that Llano Estacado where we had a unit not so long ago. Now, why are they going there? There's tribes in these 2 places, so that's the only place that's open to them. and they have to follow the yellow lines. Okay, next, our settle moves over. Next is a subjugate, which is 3. So I'm gonna put this down. I have 1 left over. I'll take the 2 away and put a 3 up there. So subjugate doesn't happen per the card. Next is the thing we've been dreading, culture. So that's 3, and so we're gonna lose 2 culture points. Now, one thing that was important, in order to use this trade card and get guns, I had to have at least 1 culture point. I don't spend it, but I have to have at least as many as the level. So now that my culture is dropping to 0, I cannot use this trade card. I don't get the benefit from it anymore. If I ever go back to 1, then I can use the card again. It's not like the card goes away, it's just the power that it gives you. I must have at least that much culture at the level that it's at in order to be able to use the power, okay? That is a very important thing. Okay, so the culture was 3, and then we go to war, which is 4. And gosh darn it, what happens when we go through the whole thing? That's an interesting situation. All right, so 6.22a. Let's look it up. All right, so here's 6.22. Okay. It's the topmost instruction. Return. If change must be made, do it. If APs remain available but no instructions remain in the column belonging to active enemy, go to step 6. And so they're just going to get all of those APs. So these 4 APs just get added to his 3 he already had, so he's at 7. Well, what happens if he has 9? Does it go above 9? Because that's how I roll, folks. I'm going to make it go above 9 just to test the limits of this game. I can tell you that we can't go above 9. Every other thing you have here, culture, military, action points, even movement points, nothing's allowed to go above 9. So that's the only other counter that's on the same scale. I'm going to say that that can't go above 9 either. So there's going to be a point now where we can just screw them over because let's just keep drawing raids and who cares, because they're not going to be able to do anything about it. I don't know. I mean, I think that that's a formula for losing badly, but we'll why not? It's good fun. All right, so now we're going to, and see, there's that culture one, and that's going to hurt us, because if this comes out again, we're going to lose the game. So that is something we need to bear in mind, and I think that's probably what some of you are muttering who know how to play this game. If this comes out again, we lose 2 culture points. We're currently at 0, so that means we would lose 4 military points, and we only have 3. And if the military and culture are both at 0, we lose the game. This makes us lose the game. So I got a dilemma. I could try to increase our culture, but I don't think it's going to do us any good. We're only going to get 1 point. And so I still want to stay the course. Now we could try to do, I mean, we got a boatload of success, so we could try to do a planning. I think that's going to be troublesome as well. And the fact that we have a boatload of success here is why we're drawing all these action points. The game's punishing us for hoarding them. So this is an interesting situation. But here's my plan. I want to create another ranchera here, and I'm going to take Bob with me. So that means this is going to move, this is going to go down to 0. All right, so then we're going to do whatever, and it'll probably be at a 1 or a 2 by the time we roll dice. And it's going to be really low, but we have all these successes here, and so then we can start off the next, you know, era or whatever you want to call it with a planning phase, and then boom, you know, shoot it right up, and then we have 2 powerful Bobs in both places. That's my idea. Okay, whether or not it's going to work, I don't know. If we get this culture thing, we just lose the game, and that's a risk we have to take right now. It's going to suck because I have this awesome plan, and we're not even going to get close to executing it. I've read a lot of comments that people find this game to be brutal, and that's how it can be brutal. I mean, how do I mitigate this? Well, okay, so let's say I take 1 culture point. This is going to make us lose 2, so I'll lose 1, and then I'll lose 2 military points. I would actually somehow stay in the game if I just go grab a culture point. I just don't think it's going to position us to win it later, though. We have to take this risk right now, because if we just grab a culture point and that's all we do, that's a complete waste of this bonus turn we have. So anyways, that's where I'm at. Let's move on to that turn. As always, we don't have a war column. So we are at our turn. And so we are going to do actions. So here we go. Ding, a ling, and a ling. Like so. Okay, so I'm going to, I have a low battery, so I'm definitely ending on this video. So obviously I'm gonna go out and take a horse with me, and we're gonna go, we only have 5 movement points, so that part does bother me. So let's figure this out. So let's say I move here, that's 2 movement points, and then I spend 3 more to get the bison. Yeah, that's 5, I can do that. So let's go out. I'm gonna go out with my guy, and then we're actually gonna hunt, right? Because we don't actually create the ranchera during the action phase. We just have to end our turn out in the middle of the woods. So, or the plains, or whatever you wanna call it. So we'll just go 2 movement points here, and then 3 movement points for the hunt. So now we have a population point that we can use to help us, you know, do whatever. Now, one thing I'm contemplating is maybe I want to also take a food with me, and that's the part I'm still considering. Let me look real quick. I can spend a population point to increase the strength of my bands by 1. So I can use the resources in the rancheria box, or if they're not in a rancheria, they have to be carrying the resources. So they could spend that bison and basically increase their strength by 1. I think that's what I want to do. Because I think at some point, the bands get reduced. But yeah, that's a good move. So that's my plan. So we're gonna basically start a new settlement in Red River. Probably not as ideal as Lower Arkansas, but it's still good enough for government work. And like I said, I was contemplating bringing a food along, and maybe I still should. You know what I'm gonna do? Well, first of all, my action points aren't at 2, they're at 0 from that last trade that we did. What I'm gonna do, I am gonna take a food with him. So he's gonna have a food with him as well. So we're nice and beefed up over there. And whatever resources he's carrying goes into the new rancheria. So we could bring guns or whatever. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is trade. Is that what I'm going to do? Oh, I have to decide, am I taking Bob with me? And the answer is yes, I'm taking Bob with me. So technically, that bison only cost me 2 movement points. So I'm going to move over to here, so I will get my wish. Because I have an extra movement point since Bob was with me and the hunt cost less movement points. So I will be in the southern. And I think that this bison doesn't go away when the Rancheria starts. It stays there, so that's even better. Okay. Now, what am I going to do with this next 2 guys? Well, one of them is going to trade. So I'm going to load up some horses and these 3 captives. And so you can see here, I have 3 captives. So I'm going to spend 2 movement points, to go out and back. And then 3 more for the captives. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I'm going to get rid of these 3 captives, which doesn't cost me any action points. And I'm going to take a food. And I would take guns. I probably should have taken guns when I had enough culture points to do it. Now I don't. So I am out of the option of taking food. There's no food left to take. So I'm going to just take 2 trade goods. Now, let's pause for a second and make sure that we understand what we're doing here. So the guns, during a success check, if I draw an AP counter card, those things that have been hurting us, I can cancel it as long as I roll greater than or equal to the value on the counter. So if it's an AP of 2, that's actually a real good chance I can counter it. If it's a 4, not so much. It does get returned to the draw cup, but if I fail, I lose the gun. Okay, so it is a big risk-reward thing. And then during a battle, which you haven't seen yet, I can spend a gun to roll 2 dice instead of 1. And to be quite honest, that is the better use of the gun. Battles are a little brutal. I know we haven't experienced it yet, but they're not fun, the battles. Especially against the Spanish, the main non-tribe people. Now these trade goods, I get to re-roll 1 die, and that's pretty much anywhere. I have to accept the new roll, whatever it is, but I can spend a trade good to re-roll, and then I can keep spending trade goods if I want to re-roll again. Okay, I can return all counters drawn during a success check. So, and then redraw the same number. So if I drew nothing but, enemy action points, I can, do a do-over. In order to re-roll or redraw, the trade goods counter must be possessed by the active band or the band fighting. In any other case, it must be spent either by or unpossessed in a rancheria. Okay, so I think you got the gist. So let's recap. I had 6 movement points. Obviously, I'm spending 2 to move out and back. I traded 3. I still have 1 left. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is because we're going to raid. And so the raid, though, he only has a strength of 1. And I think I made a mistake the last time and I drew 2 chits. I only get to draw 1 because his strength is only 1. So my apologies there. There was an error I made during the last turn. But we're going to go ahead and draw 1. Sorry for the loud noise. And there you go. I drew crap. So I'm actually going to use one of those trade goods that I just traded for. Let's draw again. See, I get something better. Should I just keep trading? Sure, why not? These trade goods. You suck. All right, let's see if I get something else. Here. Oh my gosh! I drew it again. How many of them are there? Well, there you can see there is actually 2 of these that are this color. Well, I'm hosed, so I'll just put the 4 there and be done with it. And so he's going to go back in shame. They're renaming him Chief Lose-A-Lot. All right. So now we got the last guy. So I can choose to take an action point or try to do the raid. I don't have Bob. I'm going to go ahead and raid. So again, I'm going to spend 2 movement points to go out and back. He can do a raid 4 times. Now, he only gets to draw 1 chit each time, but let's go for it. So here's the first one. Second one. Success. Third one. And fourth one. Jeez Louise. Okay. I know, see, I'm tired, so I think, please don't be angry with me, but for one of these, I'm just going to say this one. I'm actually going to spend the trade. I had a trade good that I'm going to bring with me, so I'm spending all my trade goods. Here's what's important. I had 1 success, so I get to put a Ravage. I wanted to get another Ravage. That's why this is so important to me. So let's see if I can get 1 more flipping success, because I'm getting a little frustrated here that I keep drawing all this crap. Okay, so, all right, there we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, now these 2 successes though don't go into Bob's place because Bob's not with us. So where do they go again? Oh, they go out of play. So this is bad. They all go here, so they're out of play. But I still think it was worth it. So we got another Ravage token. And as you know, the 3rd Ravage token means that we immediately remove the tribe. So we now have taken control of Upper Arkansas. This is why, okay, why is this so important to me? Why did I spend all these trade goods to be able to achieve this? First of all, I just really believe, given the fact that I drew 5 times, and then with the trade goods, I drew 9 times, it was ridiculous I had to draw that many times just to get 2 successes. But the reason for it is we now have control. So there's 2 reasons. Number 1, we just met the victory condition, right? We're going to have a rancheria in another region other than the one we started. So 2 regions will have rancherias. And we now completely control 1 region, which is Upper Arkansas. Now that's going to help us. We already meet the victory condition, which is excellent, okay? But the more important one is now if we do a culture action, we're not going to just get 1 point. We're going to get 2 points because we're going to have a rancheria here. That'll give us 2 culture. And since we completely control this region, we'll get a 3rd culture. So we're going to get 3 culture points for that same action that we just could have done and only would have yielded 1 culture point. Now, I just drew a lot of enemy action points, and if I draw west, we lose. So this was a big gamble. And then what's even worse is west has 3 numbers that are theirs. So this was really, the game can be over soon. And that's fine. If it is, we'll reset it and start over and do another playthrough and see if we can do better next time. But this is a big gamble, and one that I'm a little sheepish about because as I play the odds in my head, I really think I'm going to lose. So I am going big or going home here. So anyways, with that being said, we are coming back from the raid. I did have 2 successes, by the way, so I'm going to take 2 captives. I could take a horse because I lost a horse. Yeah, I'm going to take a captive and a horse. So coming back like that, and he's unfinished, or he's finished. All right, so let's play this out, and we're going to probably, maybe we'll get another turn. But I don't know. Okay, so we relinquish all the resources. So a horse and a horse. And by the way, he went out with a horse. I just forgot to take it. And then we have a food. Okay. All right. So that's done. Next. We're going to roll a die and see if they get a free instruction. They do not. So next we're going to draw from the cup. And they get 4 more action points. So if we draw that west, we're done. And that's what we're going to roll for right now. So if I get a 3, 4, or 5, we lose the game. Did you see that? I drew a 2. Although this is bad too. All right, it's north. But the good news is I don't think north has a culture. So out of all of them, culture hurts us. So north doesn't have a culture. So now we roll again. I rolled a 6, so this hunt flips over and off we go. Okay, so the first thing that happens here is raid. It costs 2 enemy action points. And so let's look at what raid does for them. Oh, if the war column is already in a space, there is not one. If there's ravage counters, they would have healed, which is what happened last time. So there is not ravage counters. So then we go to the very tippy top here. They're going to form a war column. So place raid instruction into the same space as a randomly chosen non-allied tribe nearest to Rancheria. If no Rancheria, nearest to band. Place a north war column strength counter equal to the AP cost of the raid into the same space. All right, so what does that mean? So the raid token is actually going off of the board here, and we have to find the nearest one. And the nearest one is actually quite a bit away. So 1, 2, 3 to here. That's the nearest one. I believe so. Because this would be 4, and that's way more. So this is the one. So the raid's going here. This is where the raid originated. And it's only a strength 2 raid. So you grab a strength 2 war column. And so he is now on that space. And what he's going to do is he's going to try to attack us, our Rancheria. And he's probably going to go after this new one that we end up creating. But, so the war column strength is equal to AP cost of the raid. If no allied tribes in play, blah, 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 terminate the procedure. Okay, so that's all that happens for now. What's interesting is if we get another raid, then what happens is they move. So that's what causes that warband to move towards us. So, and also it moves towards us based on the cards, which you are going to experience very soon. Okay, next. This one actually helps us, and it would have been nice if we would have gotten it first. This is an ally, so we're going to spend 3. And so they're going to do an ally now. So ally says, so if there was ravage counters, they would recover. Place an ally instruction counter on a non-allied tribe. That's player's choice. If there are no non-allied tribes, terminate the procedure. So we get to pick a tribe and basically say, you're our ally from here on out. So we can actually do this and make this one an ally, but that warband will actually attack the ally. So we don't want to do that. So I think what we want to do is, since we're trying to take this region, I'm going to pick, there's actually 2 strategies here. We can pick the one closest to us, which is nice because if you're trading with an ally, this is a peace space. So you no longer have to spend action points to trade things like horses or anything that's not a captive. The other advantage is maybe we can make it the furthest one away, because if we're trying to conquer them and do raids against them, we don't have to go so far. We don't have to move so far away. But remember, every time we do a planning phase, we could move our rancheria somewhere else. So it's not like we're stuck. So I think what I want to do is I'm just going to put it here for now. We're going to make them an ally, the one that's closest. And by the way, it's fickle. They could not be an ally anymore just as quickly. So that's it for now. And so that is now considered a peace base when we've been talking about that. So now we have another raid. So that's 3 action points. So I'm taking this one off and giving ourselves another action point on the track. Now this is going to be interesting because we already have a warband, and so now they're going to start doing stuff. If the war column is already in the same space as a band or rancheria counter, terminate this procedure. Otherwise, move the north war column 1 space and check for its strength reduction. 3.1 steps 1 and 2. Okay, so it's going to move towards us. What I don't understand is why this is there. I thought that would disappear, but I guess not. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take it with us. How about that? That's what we're going to do. Okay, so then we have to do a check. It's possible that the warband is going to reduce in strength. You know, they just lose their oomph, lose their steam. And so we actually have this in our player aid. So at least I thought we did. There's battle resolution. I thought for sure we had this in our player aid. Step 3.1. Yeah, it would be part of the sequence of play. That's what it is. So the sequence of play here is 3.1. So roll 1 die for each in-play war column. If the die result is less than the war column strength, reduce its strength by 1. Well, its strength is already a 2. So it's pretty low strength already. And so I rolled a 5, and so nothing happens. It stays at a 2. The 2, of course, is the weakest of all of them. So if he got reduced by a strength, actually, no, there's a 1. Never mind. I think there's a 1. Yeah, there's a 1 as well. So he's already pretty low strength, but that's what you do there. It says steps 1 and 2. Yeah, if there was no band visible, it gets reduced by 1. Oh, hold on. Hold on. No, it does move 1 space. I'm sorry. Then we have to check for strength reduction, then terminate the procedure. So that's what we did. Okay, sorry. So in a normal warband sequence, we're using these cards up here, and they determine whether he moves or not. That's not the case here. Okay, so let's keep going. So now we have a hunt, which is 3. They are at 9 action points still. Okay, so the hunt, they're just going after the bison. So if there's a ravage counter, they heal. Randomly determine a territory. If 1 bison is in that territory, remove it. If the territory rolled has 0 bison, then go to the next higher roll and then wrap around the 6. Okay, so this is very simple. We roll a die. I rolled a 3. Okay, so we look on here. This is a purple 1, a blue 2. Where's the 3? So here's 3. It's the red. So then we get to remove one of the bison from here, and I believe it's our choice. Remove 1. It's a random selection, it says. Okay, so we got 2, 4, 6. 2. So it's this one. So that bison's gone. All right. Then we keep going. We have ally 3. So I'm going to spend 3 action points from off the board here. And they actually are allying with us, so I'm going to make another ally. Why not? We'll make it the one furthest away. And then last one is the 5. They're down to 1 action point. And this one, you know, they don't do because of the card. And then they're done. All right, so with all that said, I was supposed to do something before we did all of that. And that was, we did actions. I needed to roll a die to see if we're doing passage of time or not next turn. So let's find out. A 6 means we're not doing passage of time. Everything else means we are. There's a 5. We're doing passage of time. So, actually, you know what? It doesn't matter. It was passage of time no matter what. It was just the next one down. So even a 6 wouldn't have mattered. So passage of time is coming next round. All right. I want to do passage of time before I call it an evening. So I am very low on battery, so I need to plug in. So let me do that while I'm recording here. And my cord doesn't go very long. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to hit stop and then switch to my other device. That's what I'm going to do. So let me do that, and I can actually start getting these uploaded, and then we will record the passage of time, and then I have to call it a night because it's late and I am tired. But I do want to see how the passage of time plays out. That is interesting to me. And if you don't see it anytime soon, it may be because I just decided, you know what, I'm tired. Let's call it a day. So no matter what, I have to stop because my battery's low. So thank you for watching. Stay awesome. I hope you find it interesting. I think I got a shamrock out of my butt there that we didn't draw the west. So after we do this passage of time and it's my turn again, I absolutely need to do a culture action because I need to get out of the schneid. Otherwise, we're going to lose the game. And I do have the victory condition met, but that does not mean we're doing a victory check. In fact, I know for sure we're not going to do a victory check. We need to pass time at least 2 more times before we can do that. So we've played for a long time, and we're only at our first passage of time. So that gives you an idea. This is not a short game. I think the designer said it would be about 6 hours to do a full-length game. And I think he thought it was 2 hours to just do this particular history card. Now, granted, I'm doing explanation. I'm double-checking rules. We're looking at the guide step by step. I think you could go a lot quicker once you know what you're doing. But this is definitely going to take longer than 2 hours just to get through the first history. In fact, it might even be 4 before we're done. But anyways, thank you for watching, and stay awesome.